ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यम् श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यम् तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यानस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अपारकरुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणम् श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वगम्। यत्कृपालेशमात्रेण पुमान् पूर्णः प्रजायते तं वन्दे ब्रह्मविद्धुर्यम् सद्गुरुं चन्द्रशेखरम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सूत्रार्थो वर्ण्यते यत्र वाक्यैः सूत्रानुकारिभिः।
सूत्रार्थो वर्ण्यते यत्र वाक्ये सूत्रानुकारिभिः।
स्वपदानि च वर्ण्यन्ते भाष्यं भाष्यविदो विदुः।
स्वपदानि च वर्ण्यन्ते भाष्यं भाष्यविदो विदुः।
ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि
ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि
वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि
वाक् प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो
वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो
बलमिन्द्रियाणि
बलमिन्द्रियाणि
च
च सर्वाणि
सर्वाणि
सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम्
सर्वं
सर्वं
ब्रह्मोपनिषदम्
ब्रह्मोपनिषदम्
माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम्
माहं
माहं
ब्रह्म
ब्रह्म
निराकुर्याम्
निराकुर्याम्
मा मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्
मा
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 ब्रह्म
ब्रह्म निराकरोत्
निराकरोत्
अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु
अनिराकरणं
अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु
त्वनिराकरणमेऽस्तु
तदात्मनि निरतेयमुपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु
तदात्मनि
तदात्मनि
निरते
निरते य
उपनिषत्सु
उपनिषत्सु
धर्मास्ते
धर्मास्ते
मयि
मयि
सन्तु
सन्तु
ते
ते
मयि
मयि सन्तु
सन्तु
ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
ॐ
शान्तिः
शान्ति
शान्तिः
शान्ति
शान्तिः
शान्तिः
चतुर्थ अध्यायः चतुर्थमन्त्रः तस्यैष आदेशः
तस्य
तस्यैष
आदेशः
आदेशः
यदेतद्विद्युतो व्यद्युतदा
यदेतद्विद्युतो
यदेतद्विद्युतो
विद्युतदा
विद्युतदा
इति इतीन्यमीमिषदा
इति
इति
न्यमीमिषदा
सदा
इत्यधिदैवतम्
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 starting from this mantra onwards, upasana is presented. Adeshaha, upadeshaha. Upadeshaha is Brahma upadeshaha, Brahma upadeshaha. Tadeva prakritaha vishayaha, prakrita vishayasya brahmanaha, upama rupa adeshaha, upadeshaha. And that Brahma which cannot be compared. Nirupamasya brahmanaha, upamanena adeshaha. Ashakara says. And what is the Upamadesha? Two Upamas, two types of upasanas. Adidevata upasana are presented. So the first upama or upasana is meditation on the lightning. Second one is Yami Mishat, Chakshuhu, the blinking of the eyes. It is the second Upamadesha, second teaching. These are Adidevatam. Devata Vishayam Brahmanaha Upamana Darshanam. This is the Upamana Darshanam teaching. Teaching with reference to the Devatas. In the presence of Brahma, alone Devas are Devas. And whom the Devas, the Brahma, the Devas cannot understand unless taught. Could not understand unless taught. That is why Yaksha, the Umadevi appeared and taught. even for the Devas. Even though they wanted to know through through pramana other than Shastra, they could not. Therefore, they also have to be taught. Unless taught, how could even Indradayaha would have come to know? So therefore, the teaching here is connected to, with regard to the Devatas. Therefore, the Upasana is Adhyatma Upasana. The word Adhyatma, Adidevam, we have heard those words even before in the Gita. When we say Adhidevata, that is connected to the total, Samashti, Brahma manifesting as the total. That is Adhidevata, the faculty of the total. Similarly, that Brahma manifesting through the individual. Manifestation of Brahma is the total Adhidevata. Manifestation of Brahma through the individual, that is Adhyatma. So whether it is Devas stand for the samashti, total faculty of any particular faculty. Like Surya, for example, represents the total faculty of the perception of seeing, is the presiding Devata for eyes, so Adidevam. And here we have Indra, Varuna, Agni. They preside over certain power, certain natural forces or phenomena. So therefore the Upasana connected to them, related to them, the teaching related to them. Adidevata Upasana. And Adhyatma is individual. So whether it is the total or the individual, whether it is Adidevam or Adhyatma, both do not enjoy the capacity of knowing that Brahma unless it is taught. Shabda pramanam bhina Brahma jnanam na bhavati. So that is highlighted through this story. So we saw this Adidevata Upasana, Adideva Upasana. Now the next Upasana and the next mantra, fifth mantra, where Adhyatma Upasana is presented, third Upasana. In total, 4 Upasanas are presented, 2 Adhyatma, 2 Adhidevata, 1 Adhyatma. And next one is the next Upasana will be Upamita. That is in the mantra, after this mantra, the following mantra, sixth mantra, where it is the Upasana, Guna Visishta Upasana is presented. So for Tisraha Upasanaha Upadishtaha. Adidevata Upasana, two types, 2 Adidevata Upasana and 1 Adhyatma Upasana. The next one will be Guna Visishta Upasana. So now the next Upasana, which is Adhyatma Upasana. So Adhyatma Upasana means it is related to the individual. Therefore, the individual, that is the Vyashti, that is presented. When you say individual, so here the individual is, each individual enjoys as mind, Manaha. How this Brahma manifesting to the mind, that is so Upasana, it is presented Adeshaha Kritaha. Therefore Upamadeshaha is Eshaha Api. Let us read the mantra number 5. The mantra itself starts Adhyatmam iti. Atha Adhyatmam
अथ अध्यात्मम्
Yedetad Gacchati Iva Iva cha
यदेतद् गच्छति इव च
Manaha Anhena
मनः
मनः
अनेन
अनेन
Manonena Chaitadupasmarati
मनोनेन
चैतदुपस्मरति
चैतदुपस्मरति
Abhikshanagum Sankalpaha
अभीक्षणं
अभीक्षणगुं
सङ्कल्पः
सङ्कल्पः
Abhikshanag Sankalpaha
अभीक्षणं
सङ्कल्पः
सङ्कल्पः
Abhikshana Shanag. It cannot be Shanagum. It's the Abhikshanam Sankalpaha. I think Abhikshanagum Sankalpaha in the chanting. It is fine because when followed by a conjunct sibilant, then only Abhikshanag will come. Otherwise, Abhikshanagum. Yes. Abhikshanagum Sankalpaha.
अभीक्षणं
सङ्कल्पः
सङ्कल्पः
Isn't have swara, therefore we can just chant Abhikshanam Sankalpaha also. That is how we do. Abhikshanagum is Chandra Bindu is there. There's a rule in chanting when followed by a conjunct sibilant. This Anunasika will be pronounced as Abhikshanag. It comes in many places in Taittiriya. Otherwise, Abhikshanagum. Sankalpaha is it's not a conjunct. Sakara plus ta. Therefore, will not become. Just when I saw that, it appeared like that. That's why I said Abhikshanagum Sankalpaha is fine. That's correct. So Atha Adhyatvam Yedetad Gacchati Iva cha Manaha Anena cha Etad Upasmarati cha Etat Upasmarati Abhikshanam Sankalpaha. Atha is what follows is called is for that Atha the word can be used. Atha has got many meanings. Athato Brahma Jignasa Atha Mangala Suchak Shabda also Atha Omkaraschata Shabdascha Dvave O Brahmanaf Pura Kantam Bitva Viniryato Tasman Mangalika Vubau Atha is Atha Om Atha Iti Uktva Chaturmukha Brahmaji he created this Jagat, it's Mangala Karya. It's Mangala Shabda Om Atha Shabdanuशासनम Mangala Shabda Atha in the Mahabhashyam. Mahabhashyam begins with Atha Yoganuशासनम Patanjali Yoga Sutra also Atha Mangala Suchaka Shabda. But here it is not Mangalam. In between Mangalam. Interesting thing is Mangala can be anywhere. Either it can be in the beginning or in the middle also or at the end also. Generally we find Mangala Shloka or Mangala in the beginning as a prayer. Sometimes you will find in the middle also, sometimes at the end. But here anyway, it is not Mangala Sochaka Shabda. It is Anantaryarte Ata Shabdaha Prayuktaha Asti. That's what Bhashikara says, Anantaram Ata Adhyatmam. Adhyatmam Atmani. Adhyatmam, the Shabda is Savibhava Samasa. Adhyatmam is Atmani Ityartaha. Like we have seen, Adi Hari. Adi Hari means arau iti. Abhibhava samasa. Abhiyam vibhakti samipa samruddha. So by that sutra, sakalya sakalyanta vachaneshu. So abhyaya vibhakti. That is enough. Abhiyam vibhakti samipa samruddhi vridyartha bhava teha samprati shabda pradurbhava paschayata anupurvya yogapadya sadrishya sampatti sakalyanta vachaneshu ending with shu saptami. Therefore avyayam vibhakti saptami vibhakti. So harau is equal to adi hari. Advibhava samasa. Adi is avyayam. So similarly here adhyatma, the word is adi and atman, atma shabda. Atman shabda, atma. So adhyatmam is equal to atmani. So atmani, when we say, it is individual. So therefore adhyatmam. So the Vishaya here it is yata purvam devata vishayam adhikritya brahmanaha upamana darshanam. Here it is not devata, it is individual. So it is related to the individual, to the jiva, to the vesti jiva, vesti jivam, vesti jiva vishaya, vesti jiva vishayam adhikritya brahmanaha upamana darshanam. Atha adhyatmam. As in the previous mantra, we saw yat etad. Yat prasiddhi artha, that which is very well known, famous. Yat etat. Yat etat gacchati iva. Iva, the word is important. Manaha gacchati iva. Manaha gacchati iva. Manaha, the mind. Mind is nothing but the vrittayaha. Mano vrittayaha. Manaha is mind. Mind is nothing but thoughts, flow of thoughts. Thoughts move. Gacchati. Daukhate. Gacchati, daukate. Thoughts move. Where does it move? Thoughts. The thought move towards Brahma. So its movement is not real. That's why gacchati, iva gacchati. Gacchati iva. The thought seems to be appearing, to be moving towards Brahma as it were. And chayetat, and this is, Brahma is, upasmarati. Therefore, this Brahma is recognized through the thought, pratibodha viditam matam. Brahma is appreciated, is recognized to the pratyaya, to the pratyaya, to the thoughts. And this is abhikshanam sankalpaha. This is repeatedly. On this Brahma, the meditation is done repeatedly. Therefore, here the atha adhyatmam, with reference to the adhyatma, Bhashakara later will say, we will see Pratyekatma. Pratyekatma Vishaya Adeshaha. Pratyekatma eva Vishayaha yasya Adesha yasya Adeshasya Saha Adeshaha. Pratyekatma Vishaya Adeshaha. Here the teaching. Adeshaha is teaching, Upadesha. The teaching, the subject matter, the teaching whose subject matter is Pratyekatma, Atma, Adhyatma. So therefore, the pratyeka, the teaching, the topic for which the Atma is the the adhikara subject matter, that is adhyatma. So, adhyatma, for that, the topic is atma. Atmanam adhikritya eva, the subject matter adhyatma is. So, adi, the word adi referring to the subject matter under discussion, the teaching. Tatkim etat, etat Brahma, that which is this Brahma, that Prakritam Brahma, the Brahma which is under discussion, which the Devas, how did they come to know? Through Upadesha. Through Upadesha, through Shastropadesha, which the Indra Agni, Varunaha came to know the same knowledge of the Brahma. Therefore, that Nyayam Brahma, etat, that which is Brahma, well known, etat Brahma, that Brahma which is Nyayam Brahma is Pratyekatma, which is Pratyekatma. When we say etat, we are referring to that which is evident, self-evident. Etat referring to that which is very near. So that means it is near means it is evident. It is self-evident. It is self-evident means it must be available for the sense organs. No. If it is close means it will be available for the sense organs. No. Self-evident, self, and they cannot be known by the sense organs. If it is known by the sense organs, then becomes one of the Vishaya. Then why did we see in the beginning Shotrasya Shotram Manaso Manoyata Vacho Vacham? That in the presence of which alone the sense organs and the mind, they all enjoys existence and they all function in the presence of them, blessed by them. And by the senses and the mind, that Brahma cannot be known. Therefore, the perception, the pratyaksha, the pramana has no role to play. Brahma cannot be known by the means of knowledge like pratyaksha, etc. They are meant for gaining the knowledge of the external things. And here it is, the Brahma which is self-evident, self-revealing, in the presence of alone the sense organs, mind function. How can they be used to know it? That is the teaching. So that is the teaching. Therefore, the Iva Shabda is very important. Therefore, Manaha, okay, then that Brahma cannot be known. When the Brahma which cannot be known, when it is totally unknown, cannot be known, then it is non-existence, not known. Because it is cannot be known. But it is not like that, it can be known. It can be known as it were through the mind. It means mind cannot objectify that Brahma. Therefore, in that sense, mind to mind, Brahma cannot be known. At the same time, that Brahma can be appreciated through the mind. That is why Gacchati Iva, Manaha Gacchati Iva, the Brahma manifesting through the mind, cognitively, the Brahma can be known. The Gacchati means goes. Iva as though, the mind goes as though towards Brahma. Towards Brahma means towards mind goes as though towards Brahma. The mind is an individual. Here we're talking about Adhyatma. Like in the story, Agni, Vayu, Indra, they approached Brahma. Brahmanaha Samipe Gatva. Upetya went near Brahma. Really, as though, that is also as though. Gachanti Iva only. They went and near and they wanted to know Brahma, but they could not. Means, even for the Devatas, the sense organs and the mind, which they, superior sense organs, in fact, and the mind, which they enjoy, with that, also they could not know. Therefore, whether it is Devas or Jivas, Devas are they are superior compared to jivas. Even by them, Brahma cannot be known. That is why they did not understand Brahma unless Brahma chooses to reveal itself. That Indra was blessed. Similarly, here also the mind goes. Mind goes towards Brahma, but the mind cannot know Brahma as an object. But there is no other way to know Brahma other than mind. That is why we are seeming contradictory statements in the Shastram. So, Eto vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Without able to reach Brahma, the vak, the speech, and the mind return back. But another place it is says Samskrita manasa eva jnatavyaha, manasa eva veditavyaha iti. It means manasa eva veditavyaha natu vishayavat, not like any other vishaya. Any vishaya, any padartha in the world, vastu, an object in the world, can be known only through the mind. The mind has to go towards that object and objectify that. So there is an object, there is a rose flower. How it is known? The mind, through the mind alone can be known by the process vritti vyapti, pala vyapti. We know the process. The mind goes out and envelop the object, and when it is reflected in Chidabhasa, then the knowledge of the flower is gained. That is pala vyapti. But Brahma is not like that. It's not an object. Everything exists because of that Brahma, even the mind, that's why Brahma, which is self-revealing. How the mind will go towards Brahma, like the mind goes towards the object and envelop the object. Here it is, where is the question of mind going towards the Brahma and enveloping Brahma, and the mind revealing the object. Similarly, here mind revealing Brahma. It is not possible because of Brahma alone, everything is revealed. Therefore, only Iva Shabda, Gachati Iva, Manaha Gachati Iva. Manaha Gachati Iva. When Brahma cannot be known through the mind, but the mind alone, Brahma can be understood, can be appreciated. Brahma can be known, but not as an object. Then what is that knowing? That is the vritti, the ajnana vritti which is there in the ajnana vritti which is there, and the jnanam which is Atma, which is Brahma, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma, that is the truth. So that vritti, jnana vritti should take place in the mind. That knocks off the ajnana vritti. The jnana vritti, yata an object is not known, when it is not known, it is ajnanam. But ajnana vritti is knocked off by jnana vritti. I don't know what the object is. What if the flower is there? I don't know what the flower is. It's ajnana. But that is ajnanam is knocked off by jnanam. When you open the eyes, and when the flower is within the range of my perception, and by vritti vyapti, pala vyapti, the ajnana pushpam is now, jnana pushpam is known. Similarly, the ajnana vritti and the ajnana with regard to the pratyekatma, and that is knocked off by the jnana vritti, and the jnana vritti, how it is generated, how it is formed. And also the jnana with regard to what? The jnanam, the knowledge is you. The subject matter is you. Then very knower. In the case of an object and subject, object is away and subject is there. Subject can objectify the object. Here, the object itself is the subject. The subject is the object. Therefore, the jnana vritti, the jnanam That is the Upadesha which we get from the teacher through the Shastram. Tatutvam asi, that Upadesha, that vritti which is created, that knocks off the Ajnana vritti. So that vritti knocks off Ajnana vritti. What about Palavyapti? Palavyapti is not possible. In the case of the Vishaya, Palavyapti is possible, but in the case of Brahma, Palavyapti is not possible. Why? Because Brahma is self-revealing. So therefore, how can that be a palam? If palavyapti also is there, then Brahma becomes an object of knowing. Therefore, Brahma, which is Satyam Brahma, and trying to know through the Mithya Indriyani or Manaha is not possible. But at the same time, through the Manaha, the Brahma is known by the by the process that is knocking off the Ajnana Vritti through Jnana Vritti. That is why Shastram, that is why Upadesha. So, therefore, if mind is the obstacle for knowing Brahma, because there is continuous flow of thoughts, therefore, Manonashaha, no, if you destroy the mind, it is not possible. Brahma cannot be known also. You don't have to transcend the mind. In fact, mind is required, the thoughts are required. In the presence of the thoughts alone, this Brahma is known. That is why Pratibodha Viditam Matam Bodham Bodham Prati. In each and every pratyaya, this Brahma is revealed. Brahma manifests through each and every pratyaya. When pratyaya is there, when thoughts are there, Brahma is. When thoughts are not there, Brahma is. Pratibodha Viditam, in every thought. In thoughts vary. The Brahma, the Chaitanyam doesn't vary. In the presence of that varying, that in non-varying, Brahma is known. And that is you. That is non-varying. The non-varying, how can the non-varying then be known? It is not possible. Non-varying as such alone cannot be known. In the presence of varying, the non-varying can be known. So, therefore, Manaha Gacchati Iva, the mind goes towards Brahma. When does it go towards Brahma? When the teaching happens, when the Shravanam happens, then the mind goes towards Brahma. When Shravanam is there, then Shravanam through Shravanendriya, the teaching enters. Therefore, the mind through the Shravanendriya, the teaching goes inside the mind. The mind receives, and that reception of the teaching of the words of the Shastra at the time of Shravanam, that is the movement of the mind towards Brahma. So therefore, Gacchati, that stands for Shravanam. And Shravanam Palam is this Brahma, which is Jnatam, which was before Ajnatam, which was Paroksham. Now it is Aparoksham. So Gacchati Iva. Now the mind appreciates Pratibodha Viditam Matam. In every thought, in every changing thoughts, there is non-changing Aham Asmi Iti. And having done Shravanam, Mananam, why Mananam is required? What is the result of Mananam? Well, Shravanam alone is not sufficient. There could be doubt in recognizing this Brahma in Pratibodha, in every Pratyaya. How can I be that Brahma, which is Jagat Karanam? That doubt also The doubt appears, rises in the mind, and the doubt also has to be resolved by the mind in the mind itself, because the mind alone creates a doubt, and the mind alone has to resolve the doubt also. The doubt comes when a doubt arises. A doubt arises only when there is a thinking. A thinking mind alone can entertain doubts. And here, when pramana is operated, doubt is still doubt is there. It means the thinking happens, doubt is there, and thinking is not in, and the thinking is wrong thinking. And the wrong thinking has to be known as a wrong thinking. One has to see the fallacy of the thinking. When that is removed, the doubt is removed, because that is a doubt. So therefore, we have to use logic, yukti. That is why we say Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. But Shruti means Shravanam. Yukti is logically reasoning out the doubts. And Anubhava which is Nitya Anubhava, the Brahma which is already experienced, that is known. So therefore, this Mananam, is important to remove the wrong thinking. But if a person concludes by wrong thinking, then nothing can be done. But if the person is available and is able to and is ready to remove that wrong thinking through the right reasoning, that is through in line with the Shastram, then that is called Mananam. So therefore, Shravanam and Mananam, that Anusmarati, the reasoning. Why should we do reasoning? By reasoning, we arrive at the Tatparyam of the Shastra. In fact, in the Shad Linga, Upakramopasamharaha, Abhyaso Purvatapalam, Arthavadopapattisya Lingam Tatpari Nirnaye, Arthavada Upapatti. Upapatti is reasoning. The Shad Linga which we apply to arrive at the Tatparyam of the Shastram. We apply reasoning. Reasoning is one of them. But the reasoning should not be against the Shastra. It is the reasoning what we do. It should not be in keeping with the reasoning should be Shruti Sammata Tarka. The reasoning should not be against what Shruti says. Also not against the reason. If Shruti says against the reasoning against, then that Shruti should be dismissed. So reasoning should be done in keeping with the thinking of the Shruti. That's why Shruti Sammata Tarka. What Shruti says, it will not be against the logic, because the subject matter cannot be proved by logic. So and at the same time, it should not be, what Shruti says should not be illogical. So that benefit of doubt should be given to the Shruti. And what Shruti, therefore, our thinking should be in keeping in line with the Shruti to arrive at the Tatparya of the Shastra. Brahma cannot be established through reason. If it can be established through reason, then it becomes one of the object of knowledge, and it becomes paroksha. Then Vedanta will become logical and scientific, but it is not. Therefore, the yukti, what we apply here to remove all the doubts with reference to that aham brahma asmi, that tattvam, the truth which is revealed by the Shastra, that reasoning also should be in keeping line with the Shruti. So we are not asking to suspend the thinking, but thinking should be Shruti Sammata, the Tarka. Therefore, Anusmaranam. The thinking is Anusmaranam. So therefore, Anusmaranam, thinking contemplating on the teaching and thinking on that and removing the possible doubts. So Anusmaranam can be compared to Maranam, or Anusmaranam can be compared to, in fact, to Nididhyasanam also. Upasmarati. This Upasmarati, that is Anusmaranam. Either we can compare to Manam or we can compare to Nididhyasanam. So all the three things are there. Gachati, that is stands for Shravanam. Then Upasmarati, we can either interpret it as Mananam. Upasmarati is Mananam. Mananam stands for removal of doubt regarding the Vastu which is revealed by the Shastra. And Abhikshanam Sankalpaha, that can be taken as Nididhyasanam. Or Upasmaranam also can be taken as Nididhyasanam. That way also it can be interpreted. Upasmaranam is Smaranam, thinking, contemplating on the teaching, the teaching of the Shastra, that is the Brahma, that is Upasmaranam. Smaranam is thinking. Aham Brahma Asmi iti Upasmarati Nididhyasanam Karoti. Nididhyasanam Karoti, doing meditation on Brahma. How can you do meditation on Brahma? In fact, meditation is not really meditation, it is as though meditation. Because Aham Purnam Brahma, that Aham Brahma, then on that Brahma, how will I meditate? Therefore, I can meditate on an vastu, an object outside. I can meditate on a mountain. The object is there, the mind goes as it were towards that object, and I can entertain the thought of the object. But here the object of meditation is myself. In fact, not only everything is Brahma. So therefore, in the seat of meditation, wherever the mind goes, yatra yatra manaha gacchati, tatra tatra samadhihi, we cannot be away from Brahma. So therefore, the vikshepa manaha, when it sits in the seat of meditation, wherever the mind goes, whatever the thoughts the mind entertains, it is with Brahma. Brahma alone cannot be away from Brahma because everything is Brahma. So I meditating on Brahma, meaning it is really not the meditating on an object. It is dhyayati iva. That is why in Kena Upanishad the stated dhyayati iva, elagati iva, means the person as though contemplates upon Brahma. You can contemplate on Brahma when only you can contemplate on a thing, an object, for example, a flower, when you are away from that flower, when the flower is away from you. But what about Brahma? When you are away from Brahma, then you can contemplate on Brahma. But it is, you are that Brahma. Therefore, the meditation is as though meditation. Dhyagati iva. Nididhyasanam karoti iva. Abhikshanam sankalpaha iva. So therefore, it's all as though iva iti. So when the mind itself exists itself because of Brahma. With that mind meditating on Brahma it is all the way to Brahma only. This is what we do in the meditation is there are variable thoughts. In all the variable thoughts, that invariable, recognizing the invariable, that is what dhyanam dhyagati iva. Dhyanam karoti iva. So Brahma is there all the way. So there is no particular time or place when the thoughts of Brahma occurs. It is every moment, every time, always in the presence of the varying thoughts, the invariable Brahma. Therefore, it is all the time you are in samadhi. In fact, yatra yatra mano gacchati tatra tatra samadhihi eva. So therefore, you cannot be away from Brahma. That is why dhyayati iva. In fact, thank God the thoughts of the mind continuously changes. Suppose if it doesn't change, it sticks with one thought. Then how will you recognize that Brahma? If there is only one thought, then there is no variable. There is no varying thoughts. When there is no varying thoughts, then how do you recognize the non-varying Brahma? Only when the thoughts move one after the other, some connecting link is there, then only the non-varying, the Adhisthana Brahma is appreciated. The recognition of the non-varying Brahma, when the varying thoughts are there, that is what Abhikshanam Sankalpaha. It is as though the mind, goes to the holds on to the non-varying Brahma. Abhikshanam, not Abhikshanam. Abhikshanam is repetition. Abhikshanam is always, repeating or always. So, Abhikshanam Sankalpaha, you meditate on Brahma, that is in the presence of varying, not non-varying Brahma, is recognition of that Brahma you do as long, that is what contemplation is. How long? As long as you don't require so long. When the Nishtha in that happens, then it is dropped. Then you don't have to, when Nishtha happens, as long as Nishtha has not happened, that Abhikshanam Sankalpaha Nididhyasanam, therefore Shavana Manana Nididhyasanam, they are conveyed. And here it is the form of here, the Upasana, Adhyatma Upasana. That Upasana is for which the three things are required we saw. For any Upasana, there must be Upasaka and Upasana and Upameya. The mind is the Upadhi. The mind is the Upadhi. You require a Upadhi. You require an object. The mind is the Upadhi. Through the mind, the Brahma is the Upeya. Upeya Brahma is known through Upamit, to the Upamita. So that is the Adesha, that is the Upavadesha, the form of the Upasana. It is presented here. So Ata Adhyatmam. The comparison, Upama is comparison. Comparison also is given, and Upasana also. And Upasana is similar to Pratibodha Viditam. So the meditation is done whenever the mind entertains any thought. That is mind, to the mind, the Brahma manifests. So every thought is due to which that on you do Upasana meditation. It is Chaitanyam that manifests through every thought. So on that Chaitanya, Brahma Chaitanyam, meditation is done. It means Nidhyasanam is done. So every thought becomes the medium for Brahma to manifest. As Chiravasa, every thought is manifesting Brahma. As it were, we cannot contain Brahma, manifest Brahma, like the mirror reflecting the sun. But the mirror doesn't contain the sun. And in the mirror, just reflects the sun, cannot contain Brahma. Similarly, every thought manifests Brahma. So any thought which occurs in the mind is revealing Brahma. That is the Upasana, that is the meditation. When you remember something, you are remembering Brahma. When you think of something, you are thinking Brahma. So everything is nothing but Brahma. Manifest in thinking, in recollection, whatever it is, or in memory, everything is Brahma. When you are deciding something, through that decisive thinking, decision, Brahma manifest. So paying attention to that Chaitanyam which is manifesting in every thought, that is Upasana. So that Upasana has to be done all the time. Then it is Nidhyasanam. It is nothing but Nidhyasana. So therefore, Ata Adhyatmam Manaha Gacchati, where the mind goes as it were. Towards what? To what? Gacchati, there must be karma. Gacchati means it must have some destination. What is the destination? Ita yetat Brahma, that Prakritam Brahma, the Brahma which is a subject matter and a discussion towards that Brahma Gacchati Iva means the mind is there, is the means or the medium through which the Brahma manifests. So the mind going to Brahma is a figurative expression. That is why Iva. Mind going towards Brahma. It cannot reach Brahma. So mind going towards Brahma is figurative expression. So this and anenacha, through that mind, anena, manaha, anena, through that mind, the meditator upasmarati, he remembers. Then abhikshnam sankalpaha, he repeatedly think of that Brahma, etata Brahma. So therefore, there is a smaranam and there is abhikshanam. Abhikshnam. Smaranam remembering. Abhikshnam sankalpaha, it is a volition. That is, the sankalpa keeps repeating in each and every sankalpa. Brahma manifest. Brahma manifesting through every thought, every vritti. So that is, I meditate on Brahma, through which how I meditate to, that is the mind reveals Brahma in every thought. On that I meditate. So that is the upasana, that is the adhyatma upasana, which is talked about here. Let us read the Vashyam. Pratyagatma Vishayaha Brahmanaha Upasana Upadeshaha. Atha Anantaram
Atha Anantaram
अनन्तरम्
Adhyatmam Pratyagatma Vishayaha Adeshaha Uchyate.
Adhyatma
अध्यात्मं
Pratyagatma
प्रत्यगात्मविषयः आदेश उच्यते
Atha Anantaryarte Atha Shabdaha Prayujyate. After, Artha means after. After what? After Adhyatma, after Adideva Upasana. Adhyatma Upasana is presented. Adi Devatam Adhikritya Vartate, that is Adideva Upasana. Now here Adhyatmam Adhikritya, Adhyatmanam Adhikritya. Atmanam Adhikritya, not Atmanam Adhikritya, Atra Upadeshaha Vartate. Therefore it is Adhyatmam, Pratyagatma Vishayaha Adeshaha. The Vishaya, the subject matter, the teaching. Adeshaha, the teaching. For which the subject matter is Pratyagatma. So Pratyeka, Pratyakcha Aso Atma Pratyagatma. प्रत्यगात्मा एव विषयः यस्य आदेशस्य सः आदेशः प्रत्यगात्म विषयः. So प्रत्यगात्म विषय बहुव्रीहि समास. Qualifying adesha. Adesha is teaching. Adesha, as like before we saw, it is teaching, not command. Adesha, the word is upamadesha. In fact, the adesha in the form of upama, a comparison. Therefore, upasana. Yedetad gacchati iva cha manaha.
यदेतत् गच्छति गच्छ मनः
Yetad brahma daukate iva.
एतद् ब्रह्म डौकते इव
Vishayi karoti iva.
विषयी करोति इव
Daukate, new Kriya Padam. The dhatu is there. Dhatu is there. Atmanepad dhatu. Daukate, daukete, daukante. Vashakara uses the word daukate. They uses the dhatu. So, yetat, the Brahma, Prakritam Brahma, gacchati. Gacchati means goes as though objectifies etat Brahma. The Brahma which is Prakritam Brahma, the subject matter which is under discussion, that Brahma, the mind, goes as though objectifies. Kachati iva, daukate iva, goes as though. Vishayi karoti iva, as though objectifies. Not really. That's why iva is not possible to objectify. That is why the knowledge in the form of objectifying and then knowing is not possible. That's why palavyapti not there. Only there is ajnana nivritti. For that jnana vritti. Only vritti vyapti. Vritti vyapti ajnana vritti bhavati. After removing that, there is no palavyapti. What is the palavyapti? The object reflecting in the Chidabhasa, that is palavyapti. Here, Brahma is, because of Brahma, the mind is functioning, mind knows. In the mind out that again, Brahma can be. Already it is because of Brahma alone, the mind, Chidabhasa is Chit Abhasa, it is. Chit is Chaitanyam, Chidabhasa, the mind, the Chaitanya reflecting in the mind. How this object, this Brahma, like the object which is reflected in Chidabhasa, how is it possible? It is not, Palavyapti is not possible, not required, not possible also. So therefore, Vishayi Karoti Iva, the Vishayi Karanam is only for the other objects of the world, not for Brahma. Therefore, Gachati Iva. So in knowing an object, the process, Vritti Vyapti, Palavyapti, to process. It happens so fast that we cannot know it. In other words, we can say this is that knowing the knowledge of the object that we gain through the mind. It is interpreted through. It is put as two steps. Vritti-vyapti, palavyapti. So here it is palavyapti, not possible. Because mind is a medium for manifestation of that Brahma. So therefore palavyapti, it is not possible. Palavyapti not possible, therefore mind is not okay. No. Right? To the mind alone, it is known. Therefore, Vishayi is not there. But that recognition of the Brahma, for that, the mind, the thoughts, the upadhi is required. Therefore, Vishayi karoti iva. The whole Vedanta is iva. Then the next line. Yaticha anena manasa
Yet
च अनेन मनसा
etad brahma upasmarati
Etad Brahma
तद्ब्रह्म
Upasmarati
उपस्मरति
samipaha smarati sadakaha.
Samipatah
समीपतः स्मरति
Smarati
साधकः
So upasmarati is the Uttama Purusha Ekavachanam kaha sadakaha. This meditator, this Dhyankarta, Dhyayakaha, Upasmarati is Samipaha Smarati. Samipataha, Tasal Pratyaya, Samipata, closely. He remembers closely. Samipataha, this Yetad Brahma. Katam, Anena Manasa Eva, this Upasaka, he remembers this Brahma intimately. Upasmarana, intimately, because he is one with that. Therefore, Upa, the word is important. Upasmarati. It means the Brahma is not, it is not, it is, one did not transcend the mind. So it is through the mind, with the mind, Manasa, this Brahma Upasvaranam, the meditator, the Upasaka does. So therefore, in the meditation, even if there is Vikshepa, Brahma is. In every thought, since Brahma is there. Therefore, what is samadhi then? You cannot you cannot remove all the thoughts and make only one thought. If there is only one thought, the thought alone will be there. Then where is the recognition of Brahma? Because of varying thoughts, you are alert to recognize that non-varying Brahma. So that is the upasmaranam, smarati. The sadhaka being alert. So therefore, he closely remembers etat Brahma, mane anasa manasa. Therefore, manasa eva, when we say, Brahma is not above the mind, not beyond the mind. Through the mind alone, upasmaranam karoti sadhakaha. Then, abhikshnam brisham sankalpaha.
तीक्ष्णं
तीक्ष्णं
विषं
भीक्ष्णं
सङ्कल्पः
Brisham sankalpascha manasaha brahma vishayah.
भृशं सङ्कल्पश्च मनसः
मनसः
ब्रह्मविषयः
ब्रह्मविषयः
Mana upadikatvat hi.
मन
मन
उपाधिकत्वाद्धि
उपाधिकत्वात्
Manasaha sankalpa smrityadi pratyayaihi.
मनसः
मनसः
सङ्कल्पस्मृत्यादिप्रत्ययैः
सङ्कल्पस्मृत्यादिप्रत्ययैरपि
Abhivyajyate brahma.
अभिव्यज्यते
अभिव्यज्यते
ब्रह्म
ब्रह्म
Vishayi kriyamanam iva.
विषयी
विषयी
क्रियमाणम्
क्रियमाणम्
इव
इव
Ataha saha yeshaha brahmanaha adhyatmamadeshah.
अतः सः
अतः
एषः
सः एषः
ब्रह्मणः
ब्रह्मणः अध्यात्ममादेशः
अध्यात्ममादेशः
Abhikshnam is brisham. Abhikshnam, the word is there in the moolam. Abhikshnam sankalpaha. Abhikshnam is brisham. Brisham, it is repeatedly, always, constantly that meaning. Brisham. Manasaha brisham sankalpaha, the thought. The thought of the mind is repeated again and again. And the subject is, and it is Brahma Vishaya. Brahma Vishayam, Vishaya for Sankalpa is Brahma. Therefore, Brahma Vishaya, Manasaha, Brahma Vishaya, Brahma Vishayam, Yasya Sankalpasya, Saha Sankalpaha, Brahma Vishaya Sankalpaha. And Tad Vrisham Bhavati, Abhikshnam Bhavati. It is always non-stop, constantly. Then how the mind approaches Brahma. He manasaha sankalpa smrityadi pratyehi. That is the mind going towards Brahma as it were. Through the sankalpa smriti pratyehi. This form of sankalpa, entertaining a thought, an idea. Then our visualization, sankalpa. Sankalpa is visualization. Smriti, recollection. Or other faculties. Buddhi, Nishchaya, etc. By that pratyaya, by that thoughts, this Brahma is vyajyate, manifest. Vishi kriyamanam iva, as though this Brahma is objectified, as though Brahma is made an object. It's not really, it is iva. So smrityadi, manasaha, sankalpa smrityadi pratyehi Brahma vyajyate. Vishi kriyamanam. Vishi kriyamanam, what? Brahma. Kriyamanam shanaj, karmani, shanaj. That avishayam Brahma, vishayi karoti, vishayi bhavati, vishayi kriyamanam bhavati. It is Shvi Pratyaya, and also in here the word is Shanachrupam, participle, kriyamanam eva. Vishayi kriyamanam is referring to Brahma. Brahma vishayi kriyamanam eva bhavati. Brahma as though it were objectified. That Brahma which manifests through Sankalpa, Smriti, etc., as though become objectified. Because the mind is Upadhi, so the Upadhi alone Brahma manifests. Suppose Vishayi Karanam, Vishayi Kriyamanam Iva, not Vishayi Karanam, Vishayi Kriyamanam. So referring to the Brahma. Mana upadikatvati manasaha. Mana upadikatva, mind is the upadi. Mind is the upadi for Brahma to manifest. Manaha upadihi yasya brahmanaha. Manaha upadihi yasya brahmanaha tad manaha, that is manaupadikam. Tasmat manaupadik tatva manaupadik tasya bhavaha mana upadikatvam tasmat mana upadikatvat. Manaha is the upadi of which Brahma? That is mana upadikam. Mana upadikam. Then that mana upadikatvam, that is the cause. Therefore, mana upadikat. That is status of being that. Mana upadikatvam. The status of being the mana is the upadi for that Brahma. Mana upadikatvam. Tasmat manopadikatvat. Because mind is upadi for Brahma, therefore through the sankalpa smriti etc. of the mind, that is the thoughts of the mind, Brahma abhivajyate manifest, and that is what is vishayi kriyamanam iva, as though Brahma is objectified. Manopadikam, the compound, if we make it, it becomes manopadikam. For the sake of understanding is given mana upadikam. Manas is a shabda, upadi is another shabda. So when we compound, then manas sakara will become ru, ru will become o. Therefore mano. So then it is mana upadikam. Of course, yeah, it's an o then becomes ayadi sandhi akara goes mana upadikam. Yeah, it's correct only. Mana upadikam. You can say manopadikam. Upadikam also can be made. Upadikam, manopadikam also possible. Anyway, manopadikam is the compound. Mana upadikam qualifies Brahma. Manaha is upadi for which Brahma is manopadika, upadikam Brahma, and the status of being that, and that is the hetu, therefore mana upadikatvat. So Brahma manifesting through the thoughts. That is what figuratively presented as gacchati iva. Ataha, therefore, saha yeshaha, that yeshaha, saha yesha, that which is talked about. That is Brahmanaha Adhyatma Adesha, that is the teaching of the Brahma in the context of the individual. That is Adhyatma, the context of Adhyatma. That is individual. So with regard to the individual, the Upasana is Adhyatma Upasana. You may ask, blinking, what about blinking? Is it not Adhyatma? No. Blinking there, when the eyes are opened, that the world, the Jagat is lighted up. Jagat comes to light. When it is closed, Jagat disappears. There, the existence of the Jagat and the disappearance of the Jagat. That is in the context of Devas. That is why the Adideva Upasana. But here it is Adhyatma Upasana. The next paragraph is that what we will read in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಶರ್ಮಜಿ.
Dhanyavadaha.